Life will put weight on your shoulders, pressure on your chest, and doubt in your mind. But listen to me. Pressure is not here to destroy you. Pressure is here to reveal you. Diamonds are not born in comfort. They are forged in fire, carved through pressure, and tested through time. So if you feel the weight, don't run from it. Lean into it. Because what you're facing right now, that's the very thing shaping you into who you're meant to be. Pressure doesn't break diamonds, it creates them. And today, I'm going to show you why your struggles are the very proof of your strength. Pressure is the birthplace of greatness because it forces you to rise to a level that comfort will never demand of you. Think about what happens when life is easy, when there are no obstacles, no deadlines, no storms to weather. You move slow, you take your time, you let your guard down. You don't sharpen your skills. You don't push your body. You don't challenge your mind. Comfort breeds mediocrity because nothing in you is being stretched. But the moment pressure arrives, the moment you're backed into a corner, the moment your options are stripped down to fight or fold, something inside of you awakens that you didn't even know existed. Pressure pulls out that extra ounce of energy, that hidden resource, that inner fire that comfort would have kept buried. It demands more from you than you thought you had to give. And in answering that demand, you find greatness. Look at history, at leaders, athletes, inventors, warriors. None of them became great because life handed them an easy path. They became great because pressure pushed them past their limits. Michael Jordan wasn't forged in practice when no one was watching. He was forged in the moments when the game was on the line, when every eye was on him, when pressure screamed that he couldn't, and he answered by showing that he could. Thomas Edison wasn't made in the labs where things worked. He was made in the countless failures, in the pressure of finding a solution when the world had already counted him out. Nelson Mandela wasn't shaped in freedom. He was shaped in prison, under the crushing weight of injustice and isolation. And yet he emerged not broken, but as a diamond whose brilliance changed nations. The common thread is this: greatness is never found in ease. It is birthed in pressure. Pressure demands sacrifice. And in that sacrifice, you find out how much you really want the dream you claim to chase. When you're tired, when you're in pain, when every voice inside of you is telling you to quit, pressure leans in and asks, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to bleed for it, cry for it, suffer for it? Because pressure doesn't just test your strength, it tests your commitment. Anybody can say they want success when the road is smooth. Anybody can clap their hands and shout about goals when nothing is standing in their way. But pressure strips away the noise. Pressure asks you to prove it, not with words, but with action. And when you prove it, when you refuse to fold, when you keep moving forward, no matter what, that's when greatness is born. Think about a diamond in its raw form. It's just a piece of carbon, nothing special, nothing remarkable. But apply unimaginable heat and relentless pressure, and that ordinary carbon becomes one of the hardest, most valuable, most admired substances on earth. Without the pressure, it would remain ordinary. Without the heat, it would never shine. That's the same story with your life. You may look ordinary right now. You may feel average. You may think you don't have what it takes. But if you let pressure do its work, if you don't run from the challenges, if you stay in the fire, stay in the fight, that pressure will transform you into something unbreakable, untouchable, unstoppable. The process may hurt. The process may take time. The process may stretch you in ways you never expected. But that is the cost of greatness, and only those willing to endure it will taste it. Pressure is also the equalizer. It doesn't care where you come from, what your last name is, how much money you have, or what advantages you were given. Pressure treats everyone the same. When the weight is heavy, when the heat is on, when your back is against the wall, your excuses don't matter. Your comfort doesn't matter. Your past doesn't matter. All that matters is whether you will rise or whether you will fold. That's why pressure is the birthplace of greatness, because it doesn't play favorites. It simply reveals the truth. And the truth is greatness is inside of you, but pressure is the only force strong enough to bring it out. Without it, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. With it, you'll find power and resilience you didn't believe you had. And here's the thing about pressure. It doesn't just shape your skills, it shapes your character. Skills may win games, talent may open doors, but character sustains greatness. Pressure teaches patience when everything in you wants to rush. Pressure teaches humility when pride wants to boast. Pressure teaches discipline when laziness whispers in your ear. Pressure teaches courage when fear tries to paralyze you. These are not lessons comfort will ever teach you, because comfort lets you stay weak, stay small, stay the same. But pressure, when embraced, refines not only what you can do, but who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is far more important than what you are achieving. Because greatness is not just about what you build, it's about who you become in the process. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has a story of pressure. They'll tell you about the nights they wanted to quit, the moments they felt unworthy, the times they thought it was over. They'll tell you about the heartbreaks, the failures, the betrayals, the obstacles that stood like mountains in their way. And then they'll tell you how they kept going anyway. That's the birthplace of greatness. Not in the highlight reels, not in the trophies, not in the applause, but in the unseen battles, the silent tears, the private struggles where pressure whispered, "Give up," and they shouted back, "Not today." That is where grace is born, in the pressure cooker of life, where you're forced to choose between surrender and resilience. And every time you choose resilience, every time you choose to stand tall, you're chiseling away at that diamond, revealing its brilliance. So if you're in pressure right now, if life feels heavy, if you feel like you're being crushed, don't misinterpret it. Don't think it's the end. Don't think you're being punished. Pressure is not here to break you. Pressure is here to make you. Pressure is the birthplace of greatness, and the very weight you feel right now might be the exact thing shaping you into the person you've always been destined to become. Struggles refine your character, not weaken it, because every hardship you face is a mirror showing you who you really are and who you have the chance to become. The world tells us that struggle is something to avoid, something to run away from, something that proves we are not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. But the truth is the opposite. Struggle is not a sign of weakness. Struggle is the refining fire that molds strength, resilience, patience, and humility. Think about gold when it comes out of the earth. It is covered in dirt, in impurities, in fragments of rock. In its raw state, it doesn't look like much. But put it in the fire, let the flame strip away what doesn't belong, let the heat refine it, and you're left with something pure, valuable, unshakable. That is exactly what struggle does for you. It burns off the excess, the excuses, the ego, the doubts, until only the strongest version of yourself remains. When you are struggling, you are being tested in ways that comfort could never prepare you for. You're learning patience in waiting when you'd rather rush. You're learning faith in uncertainty when the outcome is unclear. You're learning perseverance when everything in you wants to quit. And with each lesson, your character is being sharpened like a blade. You see, character is not built in ease. It's revealed in adversity. Anyone can act kind when life is going well. Anyone can show confidence when the crowd is cheering. Anyone can be patient when everything is going according to plan. But who are you when the storm comes? When the lights are off? When no one is watching? When you're down to nothing, but you're gritting your faith? That's when your character is tested, and that's when it's refined. Because the struggle strips away all the pretense, all the image, all the masks, and what's left is the real you. And if you keep standing, if you keep pressing forward, that real you is stronger, wiser, and tougher than the version that existed before the struggle. History is filled with men and women who were shaped not in their victories, but in their struggles. Abraham Lincoln faced years of failure, defeat, and heartbreak before he ever became president. And it was the character forged in those struggles that gave him the wisdom and resilience to lead through one of the darkest times in American history. Harriet Tubman endured unimaginable danger and hardship, yet each struggle refined her courage and made her into a leader who liberated hundreds of slaves. Martin Luther King Jr. faced threats, jail, and hatred, but the struggle did not weaken him. It gave his voice the depth and authority that would move nations. These examples remind us that character is not given. It is forged, and the fire of struggle is the forge. Without those hardships, their greatness would have been incomplete, their impact diminished, their legacy forgotten. Struggle did not weaken them. It shaped them into the unshakable people the world still remembers. On a personal level, every time you face struggle, you have a choice. You can let it harden you into bitterness, or you can let it refine you into strength. Struggle asks you, will you quit or will you grow? Will you complain or will you adapt? Will you see yourself as a victim or will you rise as a victor? The answer to those questions defines your character. Struggle does not decide for you. It gives you the opportunity to decide for yourself. And every decision you make under struggle carves your character a little deeper. The person who avoids struggle may seem strong in the moment, but when life's inevitable storms hit, they collapse because their character has never been tested, never been tempered, never been refined. But the person who embraces struggle, who keeps showing up even when it hurts, who keeps standing even when it's easier to fall, develops a depth of character that cannot be shaken. They become grounded, resilient, steadfast, unbreakable. Struggles also refine your perspective. When you've gone through pain, you understand gratitude on a whole new level. When you face loss, you appreciate what remains more deeply. When you've been broken down, you no longer take strength for granted. Struggle humbles you, and humility is one of the greatest marks of refined character. It reminds you that you are not invincible, but you are resilient. It reminds you that life is fragile, but also incredibly strong. It reminds you that victories are sweeter when they come at the cost of sweat and tears. This humility not only shapes how you see yourself, but it shapes how you treat others. A person who has struggled understands compassion, empathy, and patience because they've walked through valleys themselves. Struggle expands your heart, and a refined character is one that not only stands strong for themselves, but also lifts others when they are weak. And here's the thing about struggle. It reveals truths that comfort keeps hidden. Comfort lets you believe that you are as disciplined as you say you are, as strong as you think you are, as faithful as you hope you are. Struggle exposes whether those qualities are real or just illusions. You say you're disciplined, struggle will show if that discipline holds when no one is watching. You say you're brave, struggle will show if your courage is still alive when fear surrounds you. You say you're patient, struggle will test whether that patience can survive when nothing is moving in your favor. This is why struggle is not weakness. It is the proving ground where character is either revealed as shallow or refined into depth. And every time you endure, every time you choose to rise instead of fold, your character deepens, your foundation strengthens, your legacy grows. Think about your own life for a moment. Look back at the struggles you've endured, the heartbreak, the failures, the disappointments, the betrayals, the times you thought you wouldn't make it. And then ask yourself, did those moments leave you weaker or did they leave you wiser? Did they destroy you or did they refine you? Most likely, you carry scars, but those scars are proof that you survived, proof that you endured, proof that your character is stronger now than it was before. You may not have chosen the struggles, but you did choose to keep moving. And that choice is the very thing that refines your character. Without those struggles, you would not be who you are today. Without those struggles, your strength, your resilience, your wisdom, your compassion would not run as deep as they do. Struggle gave you what ease never could. Struggle is also preparation. Life will always demand more of you than you think you are ready for. And it is your struggles that prepare you for those demands. Every difficulty you face is training ground for a future challenge. Every obstacle you overcome today is building a reservoir of strength for tomorrow. When the stakes are higher, when the weight is heavier, when the responsibility is greater, it won't be your comfort that carries you. It will be the refined character you built in struggle. That is why struggle is not your enemy. It is your ally, even when it feels unbearable. Because the person you are becoming through it will be capable of carrying more, leading more, enduring more, and inspiring more. Struggle is not weakening you. It is stretching you, growing you, refining you for the greater battles and greater victories ahead. So when you find yourself in the middle of struggle, don't curse it. Don't run from it. Don't assume it's there to break you. Recognize that it's there to refine you, to burn off the parts of you that are no longer serving your future, to polish the parts of you that are meant to shine, to carve into you the strength, patience, and wisdom that comfort could never provide. Struggles refine your character, not weaken it, because they are the very process by which you transform from ordinary into extraordinary, from fragile into resilient, from uncertain into unshakable. Comfort zones kill potential. Pressure unlocks it. Because when you live inside the walls of what feels safe, familiar, and predictable, you rob yourself of the chance to discover who you could truly become. Comfort whispers that you're fine where you are, that you don't need to push harder, that the risks are too great, that failure is too scary. But what comfort doesn't tell you is that every ounce of greatness, every dream worth having, every goal worth achieving lives on the other side of that wall. You can't grow where it's easy. You can't evolve where nothing challenges you. And you can't discover new strength while sitting in the same place you've always been. Pressure unlocks the doors that comfort keeps closed, because only pressure demands the best from you. Only pressure forces you to dig deeper. Only pressure reveals the parts of you that comfort has been keeping dormant. Think about it. When was the last time you truly surprised yourself? It wasn't when you were repeating the same routine, moving through the same safe cycle. It was when you were thrown into a situation that tested you, when you were asked to perform beyond what you thought you were capable of. When you faced uncertainty and pushed through anyway. That's when you realized you were stronger, faster, smarter, braver than you believed. That's when potential that had been lying quietly inside of you finally stood up and demanded to be seen. Potential doesn't rise up in comfort. It rises up in pressure. When there's something at stake, when you have something to prove, when the choice is either break or breakthrough. Without pressure, potential remains just an idea, a possibility. With pressure, potential becomes power, and power turns into performance. Comfort is dangerous because it disguises itself as peace. It makes you believe you're content, makes you believe you're secure. But in reality, it's slowly suffocating your growth. Comfort convinces you to settle for less than what you're capable of, to stop chasing the dream, to stop stretching for more, to stop fighting for better. And the tragedy is that many people live their whole lives inside that comfort zone, never realizing that their potential was buried alive under the weight of convenience. They never wrote the book, never built the business, never took the risk, never pursued the dream, because comfort told them they had time, that someday would come, that it was better not to try than to fail. But pressure tells the truth. Pressure tells you time is short. Pressure tells you the window is closing. Pressure tells you if you want to see what's inside of you, you have to step out into the unknown, into the fire, into the fight. That's where potential lives waiting for you to unlock it. Pressure is the great revealer because it doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about intentions. It doesn't care about what you say you want. Pressure measures only what you do. It strips away the false confidence of comfort and shows you exactly where you stand. You think you're disciplined. Pressure will reveal if you are. You think you're committed. Pressure will test it. You think you have potential. Pressure will either confirm it or expose the truth. But in that exposure lies the gift. Because once you see the gap between where you are and where you could be, you now have the opportunity to close it. That's why pressure is a blessing. It doesn't just unlock potential. It forces you to face it, to own it, to grow into it. And the more you lean into that pressure, the more potential you unlock, layer by layer, until you become someone you never imagined you could be. Look at every story of greatness, and you'll see the same pattern. Comfort would have killed it. Pressure made it possible. The Wright brothers didn't invent flight by staying safe on the ground. They stepped into the pressure of failure, of ridicule, of risk. And because of that, they unlocked the potential to change the world. Serena Williams didn't become one of the greatest athletes of all time by practicing only when it was convenient. She put herself under pressure, pushed her body, tested her mind, and unlocked potential that comfort never could. Elon Musk didn't build companies that disrupted entire industries by playing it safe. He put everything on the line, over and over again, facing enormous pressure, and in that pressure unlocked innovation. Greatness has never been born from comfort. It has only ever been revealed under pressure. Comfort kills potential, but pressure takes ordinary people and makes them extraordinary. Pressure also introduces you to parts of yourself you never knew were there. You don't know your resilience until you've been knocked down and had to get back up. You don't know your courage until you've stood face to face with fear and chosen to act anyway. You don't know your perseverance until you've been pushed to the edge and still found a way to keep moving. These qualities don't come alive in comfort. Comfort doesn't demand them. Comfort doesn't call them out. But pressure forces them to the surface because when you're under pressure, you have no choice but to find something deeper, something stronger, something greater within yourself. And once you discover those qualities, once you realize you had that potential all along, you are never the same again. Pressure changes you because it introduces you to the version of yourself that comfort has been hiding. But here's the challenge: most people run from pressure. They avoid it, they fear it, they resist it because it feels uncomfortable, it feels risky, it feels overwhelming. And in doing so, they choose safety over growth, ease over excellence, mediocrity over mastery. They never unlock their true potential because they never allow pressure to push them there. The ones who do, they see pressure differently. They embrace it as opportunity. They understand that every time they step into the arena, every time they lean into the weight, every time they face the fire, they are unlocking a little more of who they were meant to be. They understand that pressure is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the tool life uses to carve potential into reality. And they welcome it because they know the price of comfort is wasted potential, but the reward of pressure is greatness. Pressure also creates urgency. Comfort says, maybe tomorrow. Pressure says, now. Comfort lets you procrastinate, put off, and delay. Pressure makes you act because when the heat is on, when the clock is ticking, when the stakes are high, you don't have the luxury of waiting. That urgency unlocks focus, creativity, and resourcefulness that comfort never calls upon. Some of your greatest breakthroughs, your best ideas, your most powerful performances happen when the deadline is near, when the weight feels heavy, when the pressure is real. That's when potential rises up because it has no choice. Pressure wakes up parts of your brain, parts of your heart, parts of your spirit that comfort lulls to sleep. That urgency, that demand is what pulls greatness out of you. Without it, you stay stagnant. With it, you move, you act, you grow, you achieve. Comfort zones also shrink your vision. When you stay where it's safe, your dreams start to shrink to match your surroundings. You stop reaching for more. You stop believing in bigger. You stop daring to step into the unknown. But pressure expands your vision because it forces you to think beyond what's comfortable, beyond what's easy, beyond what's guaranteed. Pressure stretches your imagination, challenges your assumptions, and demands solutions that comfort would never inspire. That's why some of the greatest innovations, the boldest movements, the most powerful transformations in history have come out of times of great pressure. People were forced to think differently, act boldly, and step beyond the boundaries of what seemed possible. Pressure unlocked their potential, and in doing so, changed the world. And the truth is, you already know this in your own life. Think about the moments you're most proud of, the victories that mean the most to you. They weren't born in ease. They weren't born in comfort. They were born in pressure when you doubted yourself, when the odds were against you, when you had to dig deep. That's why those victories feel so powerful, because they represent the unlocking of potential you didn't know you had. Comfort would have kept you small, but pressure pulled something great out of you. And every time you choose pressure over comfort, you're making that same exchange. You're trading safety for growth, trading ease for excellence, trading potential for power. So when you face pressure, don't run from it, don't fear it, don't resist it. See it for what it really is, the key to unlocking the greatness that comfort zones will always keep hidden. Comfort zones kill potential, but pressure is the force that awakens it, sharpens it, and unleashes it into the world. Adversity exposes strengths you didn't know you had. Because when life throws you into situations that seem impossible, you are forced to reach into parts of yourself that have been lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. Most people live their lives believing they know themselves, believing they understand their limits, believing they've already tapped into what they're capable of. But the truth is, you don't know your strength until it's tested. You don't know your courage until you've been afraid. You don't know your resilience until you've been knocked down. You don't know your endurance until you've been pushed to the edge. Adversity is the mirror that reflects the hidden power inside of you, the power you never knew was there because comfort and ease never demanded it to rise. Think about the times when everything seemed to be falling apart, when you felt like you had no way forward, when the weight of the world pressed down so hard you thought you would break. Somehow you didn't. Somehow you found the strength to take another step, to keep breathing, to keep moving. That strength didn't come from nowhere. It was inside of you all along, but it needed adversity to pull it out. Every struggle you face, every hardship you endure, every obstacle you overcome is proof that you are stronger than you think. You may not feel it in the moment because adversity doesn't announce itself as opportunity. It arrives as pain, as difficulty, as resistance. But hidden inside that adversity is the invitation to discover a new layer of strength, a new depth of resilience, a new capacity for perseverance that you never knew existed. Adversity strips away the illusion of control and forces you to find strength in places you would never have looked otherwise. When the plan fails, when the door is closed, when the people you depended on walk away, you are left face to face with yourself. And in that moment, you discover that you can stand even when everything around you falls apart. You discover that your value is not tied to circumstances, that your worth is not dependent on approval, that your ability to endure is far greater than you imagined. Adversity forces you to stop relying on the crutches of comfort and to start standing on the foundation of strength within you. And once you experience that, once you've seen yourself rise in the face of adversity, you carry that knowledge with you forever. You know that no matter what comes, you have what it takes to get through it. Look at the people who inspire the world, the ones whose stories move hearts and ignite hope. Their greatness was not revealed in times of ease, but in times of adversity. Helen Keller discovered her strength when the world told her that blindness and deafness would confine her to silence. Yet she became a voice that still echoes across generations. Malala Yousafzai discovered her strength when adversity came in the form of violence and oppression, yet she rose with a courage that inspired millions to fight for education. Nelson Mandela discovered his strength in a prison cell where decades of adversity could have broken his spirit, but instead refined it into unshakable resilience. These individuals didn't walk into adversity asking for it, but when it came, it revealed strength so powerful that they not only changed their lives, they changed the course of history. Their stories prove that adversity is not just hardship, it is the crucible where hidden strength is revealed on a personal level. You've seen glimpses of this in your own journey. Maybe you faced heartbreak that you thought would shatter you, but you found the strength to heal. Maybe you faced failure that humiliated you, but you found the strength to try again. Maybe you faced loss so heavy it felt unbearable, but you found the strength to keep living, to keep moving, to keep honoring what was lost. Each of those experiences exposed a strength you didn't know you had. You wouldn't have chosen the adversity, but it gave you a gift, the realization that you are stronger, tougher, braver than you once believed. And now when you look back, you can see how those moments shaped you, how they stretched you, how they built a foundation of strength that nothing can take away. Adversity also teaches you resourcefulness. When everything is smooth, you can get by on autopilot, relying on what you already know, doing what you've always done. But when adversity strikes, when the usual answers don't work, when the usual paths are blocked, you are forced to think differently, to dig deeper, to find solutions you didn't know existed. That process stretches your creativity, sharpens your problem solving, and uncovers strengths that ease would have left untouched. Adversity teaches you that you can adapt, you can innovate, you can overcome even when the odds are stacked against you. And with each challenge you solve, your confidence grows, not in circumstances, but in yourself, in your ability to rise no matter what comes. And let's talk about resilience. You don't learn resilience when life is easy. You don't develop grit when everything goes your way. Resilience is born in adversity, when you fall down and have to get back up again and again. Every time you rise from failure, every time you stand after being knocked down, every time you keep moving when it would be easier to quit, your resilience muscles grow stronger. That resilience becomes part of your character, part of your identity, part of your strength. Adversity exposes it, draws it out, and proves to you that you are not as fragile as you once thought. And once you've experienced that, once you know that no matter how many times you fall, you can rise again, there is a confidence that no circumstance can ever take away from you. Adversity also reveals emotional strength. It shows you that you can endure pain without letting it define you, that you can face loss without losing yourself, that you can walk through darks and still hold on to light. It teaches you that your heart can break and still beat, that your spirit can bend but not snap, that your hope can flicker but never die. These are strengths you don't realize you have until adversity exposes them, until life demands that you lean on them, until you walk through the fire and realize you were fire all along and lose strength. Doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you can discover that pain can coexist with courage. That fear can coexist with faith. That struggle can coexist with perseverance. Adversity exposes that balance and proves that your strength is not the absence of hardship, but the ability to endure it. The beauty of adversity is that it doesn't just expose strengths for the moment. It permanently changes how you see yourself. Once you've walked through adversity and discovered strength you didn't know you had, you can never go back to seeing yourself as weak. You carry the memory of that strength, the evidence of your resilience, the proof of your endurance. It becomes part of your identity, a foundation you can build on for the rest of your life. And when new adversity comes, as it always will, you can face it with the confidence that you've been here before. You've faced storms before. You've discovered strength before, and you will do it again. That confidence is priceless because it means adversity no longer feels like the end. It feels like another opportunity to discover even more strength. Adversity also deepens your empathy. When you've suffered, you understand the suffering of others. When you've been broken, you understand the broken. When you've struggled, you understand the strugglers. That empathy is another strength adversity exposes, one that comfort never could. Because comfort creates distance, it isolates you in your own world of ease. But adversity connects you. It reminds you that everyone carries battles, that everyone faces storms, that everyone has hidden strengths waiting to be revealed. And when you've discovered your own, you are better equipped to help others discover theirs. You can stand with them, encourage them, lift them, because you know firsthand that adversity is not the end. It is the doorway to strength. So every time adversity shows up, as painful as it is, as heavy as it feels, as overwhelming as it seems, remember what it's really doing. It is not just challenging you, it is revealing you. It is not just testing you, it is uncovering you. It is not just breaking you down, it is showing you the strength you never knew you had, the courage you didn't realize was inside, the resilience that was waiting to be awakened, the wisdom that can only come through hardship. Adversity exposes strengths you didn't know you had because sometimes it takes being shaken, broken, and stretched to finally see just how powerful, just how unshakable, just how extraordinary you truly are. Every setback is preparation for a greater comeback, because what feels like failure in the moment is often the exact training ground that builds the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience needed for the victories ahead. When you stumble, when you lose, when doors close in your face, it's easy to think the story is over. But setbacks are never the end. They are simply pauses in the journey that equip you for something greater. The truth is, if everything always went your way, if every plan always worked out, if every opportunity always fell into your lap, you wouldn't develop the character or the endurance required to sustain true success. It is in the moments of disappointment, in the seasons of struggle, in the times when nothing seems to be working, that you are being prepared. You're learning patience, you're building grit, you're sharpening focus, and all of that is fuel for the comeback that will be stronger than you could have imagined. Think about an athlete training for the championship. Every loss in practice, every mistake on the field, every failure in execution feels like a setback. But each one is data, each one is feedback. Each one is shaping the athlete to be better prepared for the moment when the lights are the brightest and the stakes are the highest. The missed shot teaches precision. The failed strategy teaches adjustment. The defeat teaches hunger. So when the big moment finally comes, when everything is on the line, the athlete is not standing on the shaky foundation of untested success, but on the solid ground of lessons learned through setbacks. The same principle applies to life. Every rejection, every failure, every disappointment is a rehearsal, a sharpening, a preparation for the bigger stage that lies ahead. Your comeback is being built in the very setbacks that feel like they are breaking you. Setbacks also teach humility. Success without struggle often creates arrogance, an inflated belief that you are untouchable, that everything you do will work. But arrogance collapses quickly under real pressure. Setbacks strip away that illusion and remind you that you are still a student, still learning, still growing. That humility keeps you grounded. And grounded people are able to build lasting success because they know it doesn't come easily. They respect the process. They appreciate the struggle. They value the journey. That humility becomes part of your foundation. And when you rise again, and you will, you rise with a wisdom and perspective that makes your success sustainable. You rise not just with results, but with character. Setbacks are also the testing ground for belief. It's easy to believe in your dream when everything is going right, when opportunities are opening up, when momentum is in your favor. But what about when everything goes wrong, when your plans fall apart, when no one is clapping, when failure feels constant? That's when belief is tested. Do you still believe in your dream when it looks impossible? Do you still believe in yourself when the evidence says otherwise? If you do, that belief is no longer shallow. It is refined, unshakable, unmovable. And when you carry that kind of belief into your comeback, nothing can stop you because your belief isn't dependent on circumstances. It's rooted in conviction. Setbacks prepare you by stripping away the flimsy belief built on ease and replacing it with steel, forged belief built in the fire of adversity. Look at the stories of the greatest comebacks in history, and you'll see the same pattern. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, a setback that could have ended his story. Instead, it prepared him by igniting a relentless work ethic that would make him one of the greatest athletes of all time. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job and told she wasn't fit for TV. But that setback prepared her by teaching her resilience and strengthening her voice, a voice that would eventually inspire millions around the globe. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he founded, a devastating setback, but it prepared him with new insights and vision that allowed him to return to Apple and lead one of the greatest business comebacks in history. These stories remind us that setbacks are not roadblocks. They are redirections. They are lessons. They are preparation for comebacks so powerful they could not have been possible without the failures first. Setbacks also build emotional toughness. When you lose, when you fail, when things fall apart, you feel pain, frustration, even despair. But in walking through that emotional valley, you develop endurance of the heart. You learn how to manage disappointment, how to stand when you feel broken, how to push forward when the weight of discouragement is heavy. Emotional toughness is a critical ingredient for any great comeback because success is not just about skill or opportunity. It's about the ability to stay steady when storms come. And make no mistake, storms will always come. The person who has never endured setbacks will collapse at the first sign of trouble. But the person who has already walked through valleys, who has already endured storms, carries an emotional toughness that makes them unshakable. That toughness is born in setbacks, and it is the very reason comebacks are possible. Setbacks also refine your perspective. When everything is going your way, it's easy to take things for granted, to overlook the value of small victories, to lose sight of gratitude. But when you lose something, when you fail, when things don't go as planned, your perspective sharpens. You begin to appreciate progress, not just perfection. You begin to value the journey, not just the destination. You begin to see strength in the process, not just in the result. That refined perspective allows you to return in your comeback with a deeper sense of gratitude and a clearer sense of purpose. You no longer chase success for shallow reasons. You chase it with an understanding of what it really takes, what it really means, and why it really matters. That perspective makes your comeback not just powerful, but meaningful. And here's something important: setbacks slow you down, and sometimes that delay is exactly what you need. If you had succeeded too early without the lessons of failure, without the depth of character, without the resilience built through struggle, The success might have destroyed you. Setbacks create space for growth, for maturity, for preparation. They align timing. They ensure that when the opportunity comes again, you're not just ready to seize it, you're ready to sustain it. What feels like a painful delay is often divine preparation, setting you up for a comeback at the right time, in the right way, with the right foundation. You may not see it now, but every closed door, every lost chance, every failure may be aligning you with something greater than you could have imagined if you had rushed into success too soon. Setbacks also reveal who you are at your core. When things fall apart, when dreams are delayed, when the path is blocked, what do? Do you quit or do you keep moving? Do you complain or do you adapt? Do you lose hope or do you dig deeper? The answers to these questions define your character. Setbacks strip away the masks, the excuses, the easy talk, and they expose your true spirit. And if you choose resilience, if you choose perseverance, if you choose to rise, then every setback is forging a stronger version of you, one that is unstoppable. That version of you is exactly who will lead the comeback. And that version of you would never have been revealed without the setback first. Every comeback requires a story, and the story is written in the setbacks. The struggle gives the victory meaning. The failure gives the triumph weight. The loss gives the return significance. A victory without struggle is quickly forgotten, but a comeback born from setbacks lives forever. That's why we love comeback stories, why they inspire us, why they move us to tears. Because deep down, we know that setbacks are not the end. They are the beginning of something greater. They prepare the stage for a return that is more powerful, more inspiring, more impactful than success without struggle could ever be. So when you face setbacks, when life knocks you down, when failure seems to be the only chapter in your story, remind yourself that you are not being destroyed. You are being prepared. Every delay, every disappointment, every defeat is equipping you with something you will need for your comeback. The lessons, the resilience, the humility, the perspective, the toughness, the belief, all of it is being built in the setbacks. And when the moment comes for you to rise again, you will rise not as the same person who fell, but as someone stronger, wiser, tougher, and more ready than ever. Every setback is preparation for a greater comeback, because life is not finished with you yet. And what is ahead will be greater than what is behind. Pressure doesn't define you. It reveals you, because when life turns up the heat, when the weight feels unbearable, and when every excuse tries to climb into your mind, that is when the truth about who you are comes out. Anybody can smile when things are easy. Anybody can talk about strength when the road is smooth. Anybody can carry themselves like a champion when there's no adversity pressing in. But the real test, the real mirror, the real revelation of character comes when the walls close in, when the clock is running down, when failure looks like it's right in your face. Pressure doesn't decide your worth. It doesn't change your value. It doesn't determine your destiny. What it does is strip away all the fluff, all the pretending, all the masks, and it shows the world, and more importantly, it shows you what you are truly made of deep inside. Think about how a diamond is created. A diamond doesn't become precious because someone stamped it with approval. A diamond doesn't become valuable because it was labeled by the world. A diamond becomes what it is because deep in the earth, under pressure, under heat, under weight that would crush anything weaker, its core substance refused to break. That pressure didn't create something new out of nothing. It revealed the hidden strength inside the carbon, strength that was there all along, but could only be exposed through struggle. You are the same. The pressure you face in life is not sent to make you something you're not. It's sent to pull out of you what has always been inside of you. The discipline you didn't know you had, the resilience you didn't know you could lean on, the courage you didn't think existed, the faith you didn't realize was that strong. It's all in you, But it's only pressure that reveals it. Most people run from pressure because they misunderstand it. They see it as punishment, as unfairness, as life being too cruel. But pressure is neutral. It doesn't care about your feelings. What it does is provide an opportunity. It will show whether you've been preparing or procrastinating. It will reveal whether your confidence is built on talk or on truth. It will expose whether your goals are backed by commitment or just wishful thinking. And that's why pressure is powerful, because it doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It brings raw, unfiltered truth to the surface. If you fold under pressure, that doesn't mean you're weak forever. It means you now know what you need to work on. If you rise under pressure, that means the strength inside of you was waiting for the right moment to show itself. Either way, pressure is teaching, pressure is shaping, pressure is revealing. Think about the moments in your own life where pressure showed you something about yourself. Maybe it was the exam you thought you would fail, but when you sat down and focused, you discovered clarity and calmness you didn't expect. Maybe it was the big presentation at work where nerves threatened to choke you. But in the spotlight, your voice came out steady, your preparation carried you, and you realized you were more capable than you thought. Maybe it was a crisis in your family where everyone was falling apart, but somehow strength rose up in you and you became the one others leaned on. In every one of those situations, pressure revealed something about you. It didn't change who you were. It exposed who you already were. And pressure reveals more than strength. It reveals weakness too. It shows where your foundation has cracks. It shows where your preparation has been sloppy. It shows where your habits don't align with your goals. That's not a reason to be ashamed. It's a reason to be grateful. Because if you never face pressure, you'd never know where you needed to grow. Pressure is like fire. It burns away what is useless and leaves only what is strong. Without pressure, you could live your whole life believing you're ready when you're not, believing you're disciplined when you're not, believing you're resilient when you're not. But pressure comes along and says, let's see. And in that moment, you get the truth. That truth may hurt, but it's the starting point for building the real strength, the real discipline, the real resilience that will carry you forward. Look at the greatest performers in history, athletes, leaders, innovators, soldiers. What separates them from the rest is not that they never felt fear, never doubted, never struggled. What separates them is that when pressure came, they didn't run. They stood in it. They leaned into it. And in that moment, pressure revealed the warrior inside them. Think about a quarterback down by 6 points in the final 2 minutes. The stadium is roaring. The defense is closing in. Millions are watching. Pressure is suffocating. That moment doesn't define whether the quarterback has talent. He already has it. What it does is reveal whether he has composure, whether his preparation is real, whether his leadership is authentic. Pressure is the great revealer. And in life, your moments of pressure are the same. They don't define whether you have potential. You already do. They reveal whether you've cultivated it or wasted it, whether you're ready or unprepared, whether you'll rise or fold. Pressure also reveals priorities. When life squeezes you, what comes out first? Do you reach for excuses or do you reach for solutions? Do you panic or do you breathe? Do you give up or do you dig deeper? Pressure reveals what you value most: comfort or growth, fear or courage, ease or excellence. And once you see what pressure has revealed in you, you have a choice. You can let that revelation crush you, or you can use it as fuel. If pressure reveals you lack discipline, then it's time to build discipline. If pressure reveals fear has too much power in your life, then it's time to confront fear and take back control. If pressure reveals strength you didn't know you had, then it's time to use that strength to step into greater challenges. Pressure gives you the mirror. You decide what to do with the reflection. Another thing about pressure, it reveals not just individuals, but relationships and teams. You'll never really know who's with you until pressure comes. When things are easy, everyone's around. When success is flowing, the crowd is loud. But when pressure hits, when failure is near, when the struggle gets heavy, that's when you see who's really in your corner. Pressure reveals loyalty. Pressure reveals character. Pressure reveals who believes in you and who was only there for the benefits. And though it hurts to see some people fade, when pressure arrives, it's a blessing too. Because pressure clears the noise and shows you who your real allies are. It reveals the foundation of your support system. And once you know that, you can build stronger with the people who truly belong. In your journey, pressure reveals mindset. When the unexpected happens, when the plan collapses, when the odds stack against you, do you say, why me? Or do you say, try me? That one shift in words reveals everything about your mental conditioning. Pressure doesn't care about your comfort, but it will reveal your conditioning. A growth mindset sees pressure as a chance to grow. A fixed mindset sees it as proof of failure. And in those moments, the way you think is revealed to yourself and to the world. That's why pressure is so valuable, because it doesn't allow you to hide behind excuses or fake confidence. It puts your raw mindset on display. And once you see it, you can choose to strengthen it. And the beauty of pressure is that it's not permanent. It's a moment, a season, a test. But the revelation it brings lasts forever. When you face pressure and discover courage inside you, you'll never forget it. When you face pressure and see that your preparation paid off, your confidence grows unshakable. When you face pressure and realize your foundation needs work, you gain wisdom that will guide you into becoming stronger. Pressure may feel heavy in the moment, but its lessons are light that carry forward. And in every season of life, when pressure shows up again, you'll already know. It's not here to define me, it's here to reveal me. And whatever it reveals, I'll use it, I'll grow from it, I'll rise with it. Because pressure is not my enemy. It's the doorway to discovering the truest version of myself.